What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney. Today in the studio, not with my boy Dan, but my boy Mike. It's a return of oldie but the goodie. What's the name of the show, Mike?
The Varney and Mike Show, baby. Y'all in for a treat. Show. We are literally just gonna yap. We got tinfoil hats. Everyone get their tinfoil hats on. We're going straight conspiracy theories. We're no longer talking about Digimon. We're talking about the downfall of the government. Where is Bandai hiding our secret rares? What? Why hasn't Ukon Mon been banned yet?
That's something we could talk about. I like that. Why hasn't Ukon Mon been banned yet? I can get on board with that. Downfall of the government?
We're not tinfoil hats. Tinfoil hats.
We can talk about the downfall of the world. I mean, that's a viable topic.
No, the aliens are reading our brains right now.
They're reading our brains because they see the shit that's going on halfway across the world. But we're not a political podcast. We're not going to get into any of that. What we are going to get into is the thing that we didn't get into last time. So by the time that you guys are listening to this podcast, you will have already heard the Nightmare interview podcast, which was a little bit different, if you guys couldn't tell. Originally, we had only intended for Nightmare to stay on for about an hour because he said that's all he had time for. And then by the middle of the podcast, he was just feeling the vibe. And then we just, we switched up on the fly. So while we did go, Dan went over his locals and I went over a bit of my Ultimate Cup. If y'all follow us on YouTube, y'all know what's going on with Ultimate Cup and stuff. But the most important thing, the one thing we didn't do, the thing that we do every podcast, is we go over the poll results and the Q&A. So we're just going to start today off with going over the poll results and the Q&A. And it's also a good one for Mike because Mike hasn't been on a couple of the last podcasts. So he hasn't been on a few of the last podcasts.
Feels like it's been years.
So now I get to ask him these questions and see how he feels. So this actually works out. So first of all, we're going to take it back. This was one that you guys already heard, the Quick and Dirty Beginners Masterclass, Part 1. So I asked them, Mike, what tips and tricks do you have for beginners looking to get into competitive play? So everybody knows what the responses were. We already went through it, but I'm curious, what tips do you have for people looking to get into competitive play?
Do not, my big tip, if you're just getting into competitive play, you do not need to go out and buy the best deck in the format, the very peak, whatever deck it is. I mean, what are we going to say? That is Numamon right now? So
I would say Numamon, yeah.
Don't go spend $20 a piece on Mons or whatever and buy your Rune Modes or whatever. Yeah. You don't have to buy your Rune Modes. You don't have to buy your Mons. You don't have to buy your Death X's. Whatever. Pick a deck you think you're going to actually enjoy playing. Learn that deck to the best. Like, you gotta pilot that deck the best that anyone's ever piloted it. Have fun playing it, and you're gonna do great with it. Being a competitive player, as much as it is the deck you're playing, is also how good you play the deck, and also if you enjoy playing it. If you're in a long tournament that's 8 hours long, and you're playing a deck you don't even want to be playing, you really think you're gonna do good in an 8-round tournament? No, you're not. Yeah, that's just not going to happen. So my advice to everyone that's getting into competitive play, pick decks you like playing. For me personally, I play a lot more casually these days than I would competitively. And I always have so much more fun just playing some janky bullshit. And I would take my janky bullshit to a tournament. I would not even care. I wouldn't care if I went X7. I also think it's a lot about mindset too. Yeah. Like, if you were just getting into competitive play, don't think that like you're going to go in and just sweep everyone, like if you're doing the best at your locals, you can't expect to just go right into your first regional and win. I mean, it could happen, but it takes a lot of practice,
Bob at my locals, he went 4-0 with I don't know what's some jank ass deck right now. I don't want to piss on Leomon because Leomon, I actually feel like that's a half decent deck. Maybe Galactic Mon because Galactic Mon, it's a good deck. But in the meta, no. But this guy at my locals, he goes like 4-0 like every time. Like Galactic Mon's really good into the meta, or so they say. That's normally what we hear. We hear about like some random Joe Schmo who wipes the floor with some off meta rogue jank ass not
bro. I just took my
type shenanigans.
Yes, sir, man. I'm taking my purple hybrid deck. I've been doing really good with it every single week.
Panzer would tell you that purple hybrid. Nah, I don't even think Panzer has that level of cope for that deck.
I don't think anyone should have that level of cope. But yeah, I think that my biggest advice is pick a deck you're gonna enjoy playing. And it's a lot more about, first of all, it's a lot of things. If you're in tournament play, not only do you have to be good and you have to know what your deck does, know what other people's decks does, you also have to be kind of lucky, right? Like sometimes luck is such a big factor. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you can be, obviously a good player is going to top way more consistently than a lucky player. But if you were a good player and you get lucky, I mean, you're there, I mean, it's all really about like, if you're playing a deck that has just an awful matchup into, I don't know, let's say you're playing a deck that just has an auto lose into red hybrid. It's just too fast for the deck you're playing, right? If you dodge your red hybrid matchups,
that's half the battle.
And you're already a good player, like, yeah, you're chilling. So don't get too discouraged if you just like run into your bad matchups. And if you know that there's a deck that's going to be really bad for you, you can do one of two things. You can either be consistent for like build a deck that is consistent for every matchup, or you can build a deck so that it's more tailored for your bad matchups.
Yes. One thing I have learned, if you guys are keeping up on YouTube, I'm doing a sort of, I think I've like morphed this idea. So a little bit background. Every video I used to upload when it was a deck profile, I used to call it a deck profile and analysis. It was never really a deck profile analysis. I just liked padding on words because I thought it was better for YouTube. So it was like Mastimon, deck profile and analysis. Which is really just a fucking deck profile. It's just, here's the cards, like straight up, like here's the cards. Maybe here's a little bit of reasoning on why I play them. That's it.
Yeah.
But in doing this series that I've been doing, it really has become a deck profile and analysis. And it really has captured onto the idea of a series that I originally wanted to start doing called a Digi Breakdown, which was essentially breaking it into two parts. One being the deck profile, the next part being the actual analysis. How does that deck perform? What are the combos? Etc., whatnot, and so forth. Because sometimes there's just too much ideas to cram into one, decent sized 20 to 30 minute video. If so much, if deck profile should even be that long. So in doing that, like I have learned exactly that. One thing I just said was, bro, I mean, you saw my deck list for Magnumon. That should have 13 one-ofs. That didn't even dawn on me until y'all said it. And I was like, oops.
I mean, but you gotta also think, I think that like decks like that, and I was talking to someone about it the other day, I just forget who, and I think it might have even been you, where I was like, sometimes you just have to play like that weird off meta rogue thing, because people just aren't gonna know. Yeah, people aren't gonna know how to play into it, for one. Two, you're probably just having way more fun playing something weird.
I definitely did.
Like you're just having a blast doing it. You're like, and you go into, you're like, I don't even care what happens, because
that's what you said. There was no pressure. You just went in, you just go into it, and you're just enjoying life. Whatever happens.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that you can bring the worst deck ever to a regional and win. That's not true. But like sometimes it's like less pressure than like, okay, I'm bringing Numamon now. This is a deck that is really good. So if I do bad, then the only person to blame is me.
Then I'm the scrub. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, but that was a big thing. All those points are things that like I have reiterated in those videos, because it's things that we've talked about in the past. 13 one-ofs. You said, tailor your deck to certain bad matchups, bro. 13 one-ofs meant I tailored my deck to like every bad matchup. I was like, seriously, bro? Like, what the hell was I on? But it was a 2 a.m. build, so I can't get too upset. You said play a deck that's fun. So here's how it was, right? I was like, well, we got in off the wait list, and I don't want to play Fenrir. I don't want to see that deck. I don't want to touch that deck. Keep that deck away from me. What deck do I want to play? I was like, well, I have a lot of fun when I'm playing Beelzemon, but I've never played Magnumon before, and that sounds like it could be a very fun deck to play. And I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to mill, or do I want to play this deck I've never played before that has a lot of cards that look really nice and potentially have some just stupid fun with it. And I was like, I'll take option number 2. Let's just dive right into it. And I enjoyed myself. No pressure. I like Fenry. I can definitely say I felt pressure when I was playing that deck. I was like, I got to see my pieces. I got to get this set up. I got to win. This deck is too good to not win. And Magnamon, I was just like, we chilling. Oh, cool. We won another one. Nice. Oh, cool. We won another one.
On to the next.
Nice. Oh, we're 6-0. Nice.
Oh, we 2-0 Dan Bang.
Nice.
No, but yeah, for sure. And I think that's why, like, me personally, I always play weirder stuff. I mean, obviously I've played meta decks too. Like, I've played Imperial at its height.
He doesn't play meta decks.
Not anymore.
No, that was as meta as it gets for Mike. Mike is the most off. Yes. The one deck Mike loves that is now considered a jank rogue deck.
I would like to say the only regionals I've ever played in, I think I went like X3.
Oh, that's right. The one you played against Dan, right?
The only regionals I've ever played in, I went like X3 or something. I beat Dan and I topped higher than Dan. That's all
So in other words, in premier level tournament play, you are 1-0 against fellow DGU member DGU
when
Dan.
You put it like that, yeah. I mean, I don't like, you know, all I've got to say is we both have 0 regional tops.
He has a I'm close to a regional top. He had 19.
He did know he should have he bubbled out. He should have probably gone that top.
And you know what I can say? I have topped 3 times more than Dan because I got 18th, 17th, and then 1st. So Dan's not here to defend himself.
I wish you guys saw the conversation before me and Varney hopped in the podcast. I go, Varney, what do you want to talk about? He goes, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I said, we can talk about anything. Dan's not here to stop us. We don't have a mediator. We can just go off.
Dan would be like, nah, y'all, but you see this? You see this?
We get some more Dan classic facial expression memes, dude.
I got you.
Oh, yeah. Should we both hit our Dan?
If you guys are listening to this on Spotify, you just need to watch. We're at about like the 13-minute mark. You need to watch this on YouTube. It's funny as shit.
But but yeah, me personally, like, I think it's more fun to play decks that just have a bunch, like, more tailored D, right? That's why I've always liked playing Beelstar, even when it's been complete trash off meta, because like I can just put in whatever option cards I want that I think will be good into the meta.
It's funny. Mike doesn't play Secon.
No,
but he'll play Beelstar.
No, I don't play Secon. I always like Omnizu more.
But you'll play like Beyblade.
Oh yeah, Beyblade's my shit, dog.
Not the Beyblade you guys are thinking of. It was black, red, something Royal Knights.
Black, red, yellow, Royal Knights
security control. There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That shenanigans.
That was my shit. But that's like, you know, I've been having a lot of fun playing Omnizu. That was BT. No, but you're getting way too far into the future. That was BT 6 at peak because we had just gotten the Alphamon. In BT6, and we had gotten the cheap level 5s that I could slam down and then evolve a Jesmon on top of and play Sister
Can you imagine how that deck might have fared in like today's day and age with aces?
Well, what do you mean, like Omnizu? The deck I'm playing, right?
Basically like Omnizu, yeah. For what it's worth, yeah. Omnizu is basically the evolution of that, and it gets even better next set when you get that Vikemon. That's an absolute menace. Comboed with Mega Gargo Ace.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm pumped, honestly. Also, by the time you guys hear this locals, this Sunday, will be the first locals that Varney, Dan, Adrian, and Gino, all of us will be there together.
And Mike.
For like, did I not? Oh yeah,
and forgot yourself.
There's 5 of us now. Holy shit.
There's 5 of us. If you guys didn't know, there is 5 of us now.
So
you'll hear him on podcast at some point.
Yeah. Be the first time we're all here. And that's pretty crazy. So I'm kind of interested to see. I feel like one of us has to win statistically, but realistically, I'm going X4 and I'm fucking pumped.
Yes, that's because Mike's about to come out with, I don't even know like what the fuck jank he has built. I feel like he's just going to show up with hunters and try to just like run the show again. That sounds like a Mike thing to do.
No. I've got some stuff. I got some plans.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to stay on the Magnamon train because it's the only deck that's been treating me nice.
What other questions are you going to ask me? I feel like I'm the guest. I'm interviewed.
Yeah, you are the guest. DigiGuard Mike, y'all. So I asked them in a poll. I gave them quite a few options. What deck would you recommend for a beginner to use in competitive play? Now, obviously, you said just play what you like. But if you had to recommend a particular deck, what deck would you recommend? I'm not going to tell you the options just yet. So just, throw a deck out there or two, depending on how many you think of.
Sorry, explain the full question again. So,
what deck would you recommend for a beginner in competitive play?
Beginner?
Yeah. Like, I just got into the game, but like, I guess it's hard to say like whether they should have played a previous card game or not. I guess generally most people who get into Digimon, they haven't played card games. They're not really looking to get into competitive play. So I guess it's right to say that like if you're coming from another card game, you're kind of just looking to jump immediately into competitive play.
I'd honestly, right now in like the current formats and like BT16 right around the corner, I'd probably recommend picking up 2 Terriermon starter decks.
Very valid.
I think that's like a solid way to just get into the game, pretty much have all the cards you need right there. You can do some little upgrades and then BT16's right around the corner. If you like the deck, you'll know that you have to commit to Rapidmons, which will probably be expensive. But I think that just picking up the advanced decks is a great way to start. Other than that, really cheap decks I'm trying to think of. I wanted to say like, what's really cheap? Mirage is so cheap. Mirage is a really cheap meta deck.
I don't know. Well, I guess it is still cheap. Mirages are a little bit expensive right now. The SRs are like
they go up a little bit now.
Yeah, they're like $11, but that's the
only expensive card you need, I think.
You have Zoodle Ace, but that's like $3. So realistically speaking, that deck is, I want to say $60, if so much.
And Burst Mode's like $1.50 maybe.
Yeah, he's nothing because of how much that set was opened.
I'd say maybe you're paying $60. You have a really good deck.
Yeah.
What other cheap, really good meta decks I'm trying to think of right now? I mean, for the most part, I think everything except maybe Numamon is going to be under $100.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Fenrir's really cheap if you like Fenrir.
Yeah, no secrets. Yeah, okay.
Fenrir's
for
cheap.
Sure. Although I wouldn't tell a beginner to pick up Fenrir. Fuck.
No, I don't like that deck.
They'll get absolutely rickrolled.
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking if they're coming from another card game.
If you're coming from another card game, yeah, maybe you could do Fenrir. If you're not coming from another card game, if you're just picking this up fresh, I agree. 2 double
D-Boys. You're picking up brand new, brand fresh D-Boys.
Yeah, you could. Commandramon SRs, Brigadramons, and then that's all your SRs. You gotta pick up some of the older stuff, but you'll probably still come in still around that $60-$70 mark.
And I'm thinking like, I guess if you're coming into the game at this point, then either you like Digimon and you're like, oh, I want to like play Digimon because I love Digimon, or you heard that it's a really good game. If you like Digimon, I would say pick the Digimon you like. I'd probably say most people probably play Agumon, I'd have to guess. And you can't go wrong just playing Greymon Tribal, even though it's not like super like tier 1 or anything busted. Right now.
It's just fair. Right now, it's a fair deck,
which is so funny. Yeah, so funny.
Greymon is the fairest of them all.
yeah, which is crazy. But I think those would be my choices.
So here are the options I gave people: Red Hybrid, Double Typhoon, Greymon Tribal, Shine Greymon, Imperial, and Numamon.
Yeah,
so out of 22
I forgot
votes,
Red Hybrid. That was
out
like
of 22 votes, 7 people said Greymon Tribal, 6 people said Red Hybrid, and 5 people said Double Typhoon. So the majority of the votes in those 3 decks. I didn't think about Mirage back then, but I think if Mirage was on here, that might have gotten a fair bit of votes as well. Dan was the one who like suggested Greymon Tribal because it's like the ultimate deck, so to say, to start, because it teaches you about a little bit of everything. Digivolving as a mechanic, Greymon or X antibodies as a mechanic, resource management in a way, tamer play, black boxes, like kind of touches on everything.
Yeah.
For me, I was just trying to have somebody come in and slap somebody up right off the bat. Red Hybrid. Like,
yeah, I mean,
there's
Red
just no
Hybrid's
way
great.
around it.
I can't believe I forgot Red Hybrid. That's like the ultimate cheap fucking intro deck, I feel like. I do like Greymon Tribal as a beginner choice, but honestly, that deck would probably... I mean, I played Greymon Tribal as a beginner, but this is like way back BT5 era.
That was bad Greymon Tribal.
That was bad Greymon Tribal, but I honestly think it's probably just as frustrating to play Greymon Tribal now as it was back then, because you need so many you need to see like your full stack and then tamers and everything, so it's probably just as frustrating.
Were you the one who said you need to see like double what you normally see? Right? Yeah. Because you need to see Greymon X, and then hopefully you see like a Metal and a Metal X and an Agu and an Agu X.
Yeah, because like think about it like this: if you're playing Mirage, you need to see your Mirage stack, and then a Tamer or two, and you're good. That's your stack. You're playing Greymon Tribal, you need Agumon, Greymon X, Metal Greymon, Metal
At the bare minimum, Greymon X, and hopefully a Metal Greymon X.
Yeah, Metal Greymon X. War Greymon. Are you playing Black War Grey? You probably need a Black War Grey X. And then on top of all that, you need tamers on the field to facilitate shit.
Yes, and your deck plays Tamers out for free, but it's a little bit hard to do without putting yourself in a precarious position.
And the other frustrating part about Greymon Tribal right now is that the tamers are split colors. So like the really good tie we have is BT12 tie and he's black, but you also probably want to play the BT1 tie and he's red. So you can't use training boost effectively because then you're just gonna whiff on some of your tamers.
Let's forget about that. It's like, all right, cool. I want to prioritize getting that black tie, but running the black training means you don't get Greymon X. Well, and then prioritizing Greymon X means you don't get black tie. And it's like, damn, which one do I need more?
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. And just like but I think that's still a good deck. And I mean, it's easy to learn. And it also gives you different variations because you can go from War Grey OTK to like a more control style with Black War Grey, and you can do a lot of things. If you want to play War Grey X, whatever. You want to play
it's a cool ass pro tag deck. And it's nice that at least for a pro tag deck, it's still a viable option. May not be like, the most busted thing compared to what we have in the meta now, but for being a pro tag deck for, like you said, people to just hop in and get to know, it's definitely a good option. So now moving on, we have our actual Q&A and poll results that we didn't go over last time. So this one's also good for you. I have this question for you because I was arguing with Dan over this shit. Would Numemon still be, this is the poll question, would Numemon still be the force that it is without promo Ukon Mon?
What was your answer?
I said,
my answer is no as well. I mean, I think it's still a good deck.
No. It is a good deck, but it is not what it is currently. For the same reason that Magnamon is a good deck right now, but it wouldn't be as, great as it could be without Ukon Mon. And I think that's very well evidenced by my games on Saturday, because a lot of times I mulled for Ukon Mon, and I had a Davis match where I just wasn't seeing the Ukon Mons, and everything was just fair. And Davis was able to overwhelm me instead of me overwhelming them. I wasn't able to hatch, get new resources going, generate draw power, and see the pieces that I need. And
yeah, I feel like you need the Ukon Mons. I was gonna say, I feel like a decent argument for needing Ukon Mons is that I don't think I've ever seen a single Numemon list that doesn't run Ukon Mon. But I mean, that's a bad argument because it's just a good card, so you gotta play it. But also, I mean, that card's just insane. I hate that card so much because if you have Ukon, bro, that is the stupidest shit in the world. You did it to me yesterday when we were playtesting. I think you killed me turn 2. I was like, this is just so dumb.
It is really dumb, especially with Louis. It makes it it's just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I was not I don't know. I mean, it only gets dumber from there.
Yes, this is true. Out of 14 votes, 8 people said no, 5 people said yes, and one person did say that they would elaborate, which They never did.
I mean, you got to think how annoying it's going to be next set when they get 8 Ukomons.
Yeah.
I'm not excited for that.
Okay, so it's not even annoying that like, okay, cool, they have 8 Ukomons. It's that, okay, well, originally I was on the boat of, yeah, I can deal with the Ukomon, the promo Ukomon, because like that one gains you the memory. What I really have a problem with is the BT16 one, because that is a generic searcher for any card in your deck. And now I'm on the flip side. I am more okay with BT16 Ukomon than I am with promo Ukomon, because promo costs nothing to digivolve. It raises, you gain a memory. You have 2 of them, you're gaining 2 memory. You're still getting to hatch. Whereas the other one, sure, like you can get double the search, which can be annoying, but the memory gain's what makes that shit so annoying. It's like I put you to 1. What do you mean you raise? You go up to 3 between like Ukomon effect and a Louis or like some start of main phase effect. Like, no, like that's like Alpha Mod all over again and all other memory gaining shenanigans. So, me personally, promo Ukon, we can cut that card right out of the meta.
And again, I think it'd still be a good deck, but no, that just Ukomon's dumb. But I think that's the same for a lot of decks. If you rip away Ukomon, they just get less good, like way less good.
Yeah,
but the game
it's
is
like
so
when we were talking
fast
about
right
training
now.
boost. Like originally when we were talking about maybe banning or limiting the training boost, but the argument was that like every deck can play them. So every deck gets better with them. And every deck does get better with Ukomon, but it's also very dependent upon what the deck is doing.
Yeah. It's just a tough discussion, I guess, to say, because you think about it. I mean, the Ukomon's crazy. I don't know which one I would rather get hit, honestly, because both are so insane. I hate the promo right now because I'm seeing the promo all the time in this meta. Yep. And I don't know. I genuinely can't say which one I'm going to hate more next set. And I think that I'm just going to hate both equally.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, I genuinely like, because the Ukomon, I mean, once you get both on the field, I just feel like, what the fuck are you even doing at this point? But in regards to your point, like with the training boost, the issue I think right now is decks that can utilize training boosts and then things like Ukon. Like, holy crap, this game is like really, really fast now. Like, really fast.
That's how I feel. That's how honestly, that's how I felt playing Magnamon. Like, I don't play the training boost because I don't have room for them. I would like to. I just don't necessarily want to dedicate deck space to it. But just those 4 Ukomon, just mulling to see 1 Ukomon is nuts. And like you said, come around next set, we're getting 8 Ukomons that some decks can play. It's like, well, pick your poison. It's just dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next set, though. We'll see.
We'll see. The next question. So this episode, reason I asked that question, we were talking about how much is too much power creep. And so Numamon came up, of course, and that's how Ukomon came up. Then I asked them, what do you think of the job Bandai has done thus far with power creep in the Digimon card game? So starting off with Guz, he said, Bandai has done a really good job of managing everything. New cards gently replace others until Apocalypse, which was more of a power leap. Sax says a fifth. That's his username, Sax Fifth Ave. A fair pace. Older decks still work because of new synergy, which is always a concern. No one wants to come back to a game and need a whole new playstyle and deck type they prefer. Poor Mike with his 3 different iterations of Imperial, and me with my now 2 different iterations of Fenry. Which is another argument Dan and I were having.
But yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, power creep in this game, it's kind of tough to say. It's 2024.
We're a lot of sets in.
It's 2024 3 years.
No, actually, it's like almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years. Almost 4 years. 2020 is when the game came out. Yeah.
Like,
so 4 years.
4 sets in.
It's hard to say because I can't even. I mean, First of all, the first sets in Magic the Gathering are like the most busted shit of like all time. So it's hard to even really compare. Like the first, and then Yu-Gi-Oh was just kind of like really slow until like Chaos stuff came out, and then it was just bonkers, absolutely insane.
Yu-Gi-Oh! I summoned this monster in defense position and I end my turn.
Oh, yeah. You could actually play flip monsters and it meant something. Yeah. So it's hard for me to say. Like, I feel like 4 years in, actually, this game's done pretty well. The issue is sometimes, like with Apocalypse, like sometimes they just make a card that's like, holy shit, what are we doing here? And I think that they've actually done a really good job, though, of when they make cards like that, they go, okay, this is an issue. Shoutmon comes to mind, Cross 4. Alphamon comes to mind with Doru Ray. Like sometimes they just do things and then we have repercussions because of it. But they do
be a little bit late, but
like we suffer sometimes, but I feel like they never make us suffer for like more than a set. For the most part. Japan, on the other hand, I feel bad for them, bro.
Yeah.
They've had to suffer through some awful things. I'm actually still surprised that the game is like still alive in Japan for the most part.
It's because Digimon is it's a phenom in Japan. Unfortunately, Bandai doesn't recognize that over here.
Yeah. Well, I just can't imagine like playing like a Cross 4 meta like for that long, or even an Alphamon meta for that long, and the best of ones at that.
Best of one, yep.
My heart goes out to those players. I probably would have quit. But for the most part, I feel like the power creep's okay. I know that I was talking to Adrian actually about Magna X, and I was like, I really don't like that
Which
card.
One? The new one?
The new Magna X. No, the old Magna X. Yeah, the awful one. Now some of the new Magna X, and I was like, I don't really like the card. I don't like the card design, like what it does. And he was like, don't say that. Like, I don't want them to hit that card. And I was like, they're not gonna fucking. I personally don't think they hit Magna X. I think it's a really good card, but it's not like
it's not a
Pokemon levels is stupid where they have to hit another secret rare like that. But I don't like that kind of card design. And I kind of brought it up to you and Dan about how I hope the game doesn't just like devolve into, okay, this card has protection from everything, and then like you pass turn and you're like, okay, but my card also has protection from everything, and then we're like in this weird Yu-Gi-Oh thing where we have to break a board to win a game. And I hated that, like, okay, I here's my board of everything, try and break the board or I win the next turn. I hate formats like that, so I hope that like things don't go that way. But so for the most part, in my opinion, like they've done a good job. And I think that's East just put out a new video again.
Yep. I was just about to mention it.
I didn't get to watch the brand new one he just put out today. But from what I saw last week, BT17 looks very, very diverse. I don't know if it's changed, Varney.
I didn't watch that one. I did watch the video that he put out where he talked about those new cards, the movie cards, I guess we can just call them.
Yeah.
You know, do the shenanigans that they do and allow the level 7 aces to be the menaces that they are. It's funny when you give that a watch, like that's probably a topic for another podcast, because the way he talks about it and what you just described really feels like a Yu-Gi-Oh situation. It's like, well, you took away the one thing that I had, the good thing, the aces, where I could just remove the ace threat and then I can't get aced. And now you make it so that not only can I not play into the ace threat, the opponent can ace even easier. And so then are we getting into a state of Digimon where it's you have to try to break my board and maybe break my board twice type of thing. Which, to be fair, at least there's drawback for it, right? Because you do it once, okay, cool, that's it. Now, if you can deal with that ace, that's overflow 5. This is a topic that Adrian, brought up in the past. Do we start seeing the likes of Gaia Force and Kakaitis Breath, or I guess Full Moon in this meta?
Yeah, Full Moon's just better.
And like Wyvern's Breath, do we start seeing the return of those cards? Because overflow 5 means that, well, you're just going to play your removal for like 3. So somewhere between 2 to 4 cost. In the case of Imperial, you've got a dragon mode ace, a fighter mode ace, and a paladin mode ace. So depending on how you build your stack, if you put 2 aces on top of each other, that is completely free removal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think even people are gonna play Dragon Mode Ace, but like definitely, obviously, you're playing Fighter Mode Ace. That card's insane.
The card is dumb.
And then obviously you play Paladin Mode Ace. But I think, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that shenanigans. I think that also, like, I just looked up East week 2 meta report. This is the one I watched. This came out 3 days ago, and for the most part, it is still a very diverse meta. I don't really think that there's like a clear cut, like, you know, whatever
it's format.
It changed. Like last week, it looked like Takamichi
Fenry, whatever.
Yeah, that was like on top. That first week was like murder and shit. And then the second week there was like nothing in his mega category. So like that's good. It's like people are like figuring out that meta still.
Yes.
So we'll see what it ends up shaping out to be. But for the most part, it doesn't look terrible. I don't know. I think that the good thing about Digimon is like we do have a lot of power creep, but usually when they power creep, like everything gets power crept. Like there are obviously decks that get like left behind, but like
Lord Nightmon.
Oh God, I don't know why we are getting a new ace for that. We don't know what it looks like yet, but we are getting an ace.
Talk about that.
But yeah, you know, they are very reluctant to just give some deck support though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. but like to your point, at least they are showing that every deck will get support. Now the question is that support good support or is it bad support? Because there's some support that comes out and it's like, cool, you gave us all this, thanks. But like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? For example, Edamon, Sukamon, great deck. Fun. It's so fun. Why the fuck do the rookies still cost 1 to Digivolve?
Could you imagine if they didn't?
The deck would be much better. We might see it top every so often. It
might be the best deck in the game, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, make everything a Suka. You know, I listen. I love it. Another good example, the Chessmon stuff. I don't know if you've seen the reveals for the Liberator starter decks.
Yeah.
We got Chessmon pieces. Yay!
They still cost 1 to Digivolve.
They do still cost 1 to Digivolve.
Also, why is it always the black cards that cost 1 to Digivolve? You ever noticed that? You ever noticed that, man? Is that just me?
So Jay Stort says power creep is needed, as you said. Bandai has seemed to start giving support for older decks now. Example are people thinking of playing Lord Nightmon in BT16 because of the level 6 ace, which is fair.
You're damn right I'm playing Lord Nightmon in BT16.
Hell yeah! That Valkyriemon ace?
You're damn right I'm dropping a goddamn level 6 for free. Fuck yeah!
Or you drop a level 5, it's just like, hey, I got an ace chilling in hand. You want to swing?
Sure.
Do you want to swing?
let me drop my new Lord Knight.
Honestly,
my new Lord Knight, my new Nightmon. Slap dick.
I honestly, I'm actually, I think I'm gonna buy some more Lord Nightmons now that you talk about it, so that I can play that next set, because I'm definitely looking forward to that. Ooh, they're $25. Oh no, they're $30. I'm gonna pick up 2 anyways.
I want you to know that I've had that deck max rated for like 4 sets now. Do you remember like 4 sets ago when I was playing that?
No, not in the slightest bit.
It's not good.
Hey, it might be good. I mean, I know it didn't have any tops, but this could be my fun jank for next set to the Marvin's Machines.
I'm gonna play the shit out of that deck, bro.
But all right, so that's what Jay Stort said. Walker said, I think the power creep just goes in cycles. Big stack decks get their crazy effects that eclipse everything. Then they make a lot of single target control. Then they make decks that go wide, rinse, repeat kind of thing. Arton said, good.
One thing I never thought was going to make a comeback, not to get back on the Ukon train. I just never thought that like Rookie Rush was going to come back the way it did. Right. And holy fuck did it come back. I hate that shit.
Yeah, Rookie Rush was always annoying. And now with Ukon Mon, like that just like exasperates it. But at least we can deal with it better now than we were able to in the past. Because in the past, counterplay for that wasn't necessarily there.
Can you believe there was a time in our lives we had to play like this game without cards like Crimson Blaze that went
Can you
wide?
believe there was a time in our lives where we had to not only play without Crimson Blaze, but we had to play with set your security first, then draw 5 cards, no mulligan?
We were talking about that.
That one of Crimson Blaze. Well, listen, security chief. I hope you enjoyed the card.
I can't believe that that's how the game is played. Honestly, it's so nuts to think about.
I can never see it any other way, and it never made sense. I'm like, bro, why does every other game draw and then set? Why do we set and then draw? What the hell is that?
I honestly, it's so weird. Like we've been playing mulligans now for so long that it's like hard to even believe that there was a time that we didn't. Though, like it's so so crazy. But then again, like, could you imagine we actually had full on mulligans like during Jesmon meta?
I would have taken it because sometimes playing Jesmon, those hands were so bad, bro.
I remember the one locals we had tested the Ulti Cup rules at. I was playing Jesmon and I beat the fuck out of everyone.
I remember that.
I was like, oh, we're testing mulligan today? Yeah, I know what deck I'm playing.
So Artotten says, I agree, power creep can be necessary for relevancy, but I'm afraid of the way of YuGiOh. I'm curious your thoughts on Magic. It's been around a long time, but power creep is not as heavy as others.
The thing with Magic is that there's a ton of formats you can play now. So there's just a million formats. I don't even honestly know all the formats because I haven't played in a while, but there was like, I think there's like, let me just put it this way. Modern got so bad that people were like, we don't want to play Modern anymore. We're going to create a new Modern. I think it's called Frontier or some shit. I don't even know what the format is. Yeah, it's called also known as postmodern or contemporary. So like they created like they like will create a format and and then they play that for a long time. I played Modern, and like I loved Modern. If I played, I'd still play Modern. But I know that Frontier came out because people were like, we don't want to play Modern anymore because it's so bad. Modern, like I don't know what the formats look like now, but when I was playing Modern, it was like a turn 3 game. Like those were games. It was like turn 3, like I'm winning the shit by like turn 3, like slap dick. Power creep definitely exists in Magic, and it can get really bad because the card pool is so wide. So they do a really good job, but like some standard formats are also just unbearable, and people forget that fast because standard is a rotating format, so cards rotate out of it. But there are some formats in standard that are literally like just fucking awful. There are formats in Modern, like there's times in Modern, like Snapcaster Mage. When Snapcaster Mage first came out, that was just awful card. I hated Snapcaster Mage. There's just some things like there's definitely power creep, and it can be bad. Tarmogoyf comes to mind for power creep. Tarmogoyf was actually insane when it came out. I don't know. So they do a good job, but it's been 30 plus years. They've literally had multiple like emergency bans and like standard at this point. They've done multiple like sometimes on like a card will come out and they'll be like, this is banned like in this format, or like, you know, stuff like that happens. Like, so it doesn't surprise me. Like they do a good job. It's not nearly as bad as Yu-Gi-Oh or anything, I don't think. But also Yu-Gi-Oh has been around for a long time now too, 20 plus years, right? Like it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh is a new game anymore. So yeah, the game, I don't like playing the game anymore. And also I don't think I could ever actually play Yu-Gi-Oh again. I genuinely, the card pool in Yu-Gi-Oh is huge now, and I just actually do not understand how you play it anymore. Because it just like is literally, the last time I tried to play it was when I was in college, and I was still having fun with it. But it back then when I was in college, that's a long time ago now, 5 years ago maybe. So back then it was still like, okay, I have 3 hand traps in my hand. If you do anything, I'm going to hand trap you. So you were just kind of hoping your opponent didn't have a hand trap, and then if you were going second, you're hoping you had a handful of hand traps. So that was what like Yu-Gi-Oh ended up as. And I don't know what it's like now, but I know Mark still plays every once in a while, and having him explain,
Mark has a problem.
Having him explain to me like what formats are like in Yu-Gi-Oh now makes me want to just not ever touch that game ever again. It makes me sick to think about.
Yeah, I mean, that's why even Master Duel is the same way. Like, I like Yu-Gi-Oh enough that I consider, hey, maybe I'll pick up Master Duel and play it. And then I think about like everything that goes into like actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, why would I do that to myself? Why would I sit down and invest time? Why do I hate myself like this?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think I could ever play again because like I don't understand the card pool. I don't understand the decks. And like Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely a game. Like you can get away in Digimon, I feel like for the most part, like sitting across from your opponent and not actually knowing what their deck does, and you might be able to win. Like for some decks, it just doesn't matter. Like if I sit across you and I've never seen you play Fenrir before, like it just actually doesn't matter what you do because you're just going to OTK me if you can. I'm just going to play my own game. Yu-Gi-Oh, like things like that actually matter. Like I have no, like you have to know what your opponent's playing so that you can like play the cards you need to like out them. I just actually have zero fucking clue how that game works anymore. I'm also just bad at card games, so I don't know.
That's so he says. So he says. And then last comment here from Aaron says, power creep is fine, but they need to take another look at the restrictions. Greymon X should be lifted, so Greymon has a better chance against these faster decks.
We've hit the full circle moment, boys. Greymon X off the list, baby.
I told Dan that the other day. I was like, all right, it's time. It's time. This is why it needs to come off the list because this deck ain't shit without it.
So my only issue with that, is like the way the deck works now. Like, let's say you have BT14 Agu and Raising, and you play a tie. You just raise that BT14 Agu, Digivolve into Greymon for free, Digivolve into Greymon X for free, Digivolve into a Metal Greymon for 1, Digivolve into Metal Grey X for free, and then you go like BT14 Secret War Grey and just OTK your opponent.
I don't know if you'd OTK, but you definitely give a very...
You don't know if you OTK, that's... 1, 2,
no, because it's the same thing as
3, 4, 5 checks with tie and then Omni for game.
I mean, if you have all of that, then you got it, Chief. You know, if you have the Sec +1 Greymon with the BT1 tie, you're gaining the Sec +1 off of the, you know, if you have all of that, you got that, Chief.
But that was my Greymon argument before, is like you need all the pieces, right? Like that's the issue.
Because Vaccine comes up from a Patamon and does the same exact thing without the OTK. I think Greymon is fine to do it. Patamon comes up, Digivolves for free, and then they can go into whatever. It doesn't matter what they go into. They have enough memory. They just gain like 3 memory, most likely. And then Emissary to go into a Seraphimon from security. Now they're swinging at you for 2 checks. They just recovered like 2 security. And then it's like, they just did all of that and they still kept turn. Greymon should be able to do that. Maybe they won't keep turn, but they got a really big, badass boss monster out there, you know?
With protection. Probably dual layers of protection.
Dual layers of protection. I mean, you know, if you got it, you got it. I think it's time. I think it's time.
I could see it, and I think that it's possible, again, mostly because the tamers are split, so I feel like people have a harder time trying to run the training cards with it too.
Yes, I really do. I really do. That's why I don't play the deck, because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get around this.
I don't know, man. Sounds like we got to do some playtesting of full power Greymon Tribal into the meta. Let's see how it does. And
petition Bandai, say, hey, look, we did the testing for you. Here's the results. We conclude that Greymon X should come up.
out of 74 games played, we were able to secure a win percentage of
73.5% against the meta. Here's the win percentage without Greymon X. Therefore, we conclude that Greymon X needs to come off the ban list. Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Bandai would be like, who the fuck are these guys again?
Oh, that's the podcast that always trashes on us.
It's the podcast that has said terrible things about us the entire time it's been around.
Oh my good lord.
It's the podcast where they just curse repeatedly.
Hey, fuck you, buddies. All right. So for our main topic for today, we're going to be talking about the cards in the Digimon card game.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the cards.
We're going to talk about some cards and why cards are good and why they allow us to, play the card game.
As you can tell, we are very prepared for this podcast.
No, I just fucking phrased that in the wrong way. What I was going to say is we're going to talk about cards in the card game, why they're expensive, why expensive cards can be a good thing, some of the negative things about it. This was a topic that happened in Discord. I want to say it was about a week and a half.
Yeah, a little bit
2 weeks ago at this point. And I had put it onto our topic board as a topic. Adrian wanted to talk about it. Unfortunately, Adrian can't be here, but Mike's here, so we're going to talk about it because Mike had some opinions in Discord. And honestly, some things are just better said out loud rather than trying to be a keyboard warrior and type it all out. I didn't contribute much to that conversation that day because I was sitting there reading it. And first of all, I was laughing my ass off. But, I know one of the big things Mike said is having expensive secret rares is a good thing for the game. So, Mike, why is that? Why do you feel that way?
I think it's important for cards to have value in the game because it sucks to just, you buy all these cards and then they're worth nothing. I like to not, you're playing a card game. You're not going to make your money back. You're spending money to play, right? But I like to at least be not feel bad about the things I just spent money on. I just bought a box at a pre-release and now I'm just out $60 or $60. God, it's been a long time since anything's cost that.
Yeah, right.
But now I just spent $80 and I did not pull anything good. So here we are. But also, I'd like to preface this. The card that was in question was Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode is really expensive. The non-alt-art version of Ruin Mode is $73 currently on TCG Player. You can buy it right now for $73.75 with $1 shipping. That is the alt art, just normal secret rare Ruin Mode. I personally, I don't think that there's an issue with a secret rare being as expensive as Ruin Mode is, because one, I don't think I've ever seen a list play 4 Ruin Mode my entire life.
Oh, you haven't seen Shine Gray Ruin Mode Control?
Okay, I lied. There's a list playing 4 Ruin Mode.
That's an off-ass deck that I would never count on that being,
Yeah,
maybe you can steal a top, but
so I'd say most decks play 2 at most, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Which is expensive. That's $140. Understandable. However, I want to talk about the set that it comes in, which is Alternative Being, which currently you can buy a box of for $67. That's shipping included, right?
Yeah.
So you buy a box of Alternative Being for $67. The next expensive card from Ruin Mode down is the Alter B Alt Art for $22. Technically, that's not true. There's an Omnimon Zord Defeat, the Silver Alternate Art. And there's an Omnimon Ultra-S, the Silver Alternate Art. I think the Omnimon Ultra-S is weird and had some kind of weird buyout market manipulation thing I'm not sure of. I think the market price is $50, but you can only buy them for $100 right now, so I don't know what's up with that. That's some weird market manipulation. I wouldn't believe the pricing on that. The Zord Defeat Alt Art, the silver background, is $70, and that checks out. But those are the chase cards, so don't count on opening a box and finding them. So that's why I'm not kind of counting them in my pricing. Anyways, so from Ruin Mode down, it's Alter B, which is the other secret rare in the set, which is $22. That means if you spend money on Alternative Being right now, right, for $67, your value in that box is actually dog shit unless you pull a Ruin Mode.
Yep.
You are getting just junk cards, and I think that for most EX sets it's always kind of been that way.
Yes.
EX sets, you're really never guaranteed your money back ever, and I think most Digimon sets should be that way anyways. But Ruin Mode being a chase card in there isn't bad, because at least you can make your money back off that. The other cards in that set are so actually dirt cheap. You could probably buy every card in that set almost twice maybe except not including alt arts, and literally not have the price of a ruin mode yet. Like
True.
that's how bad the prices for alternative being are. And I know that there was an argument where it was like, I hate that ruin mode came in that box because so little people opened it because the other cards in it sucked. But that's also why ruin mode is more expensive, because less people opened it.
Yeah, same logic with pretty much everything in BT15 currently.
Yes. Yep.
But also because Bandai did screw ratios for it. But because they screwed the ratios for it, people didn't want to open it because they didn't want to get fucked on their pulls. Because you don't want to get fucked on your pulls. There are less singles going around, and it's the circle of life. It's the circle of life.
Now, the other thing I want to talk about, so for me personally, I don't think it's bad for card games to have expensive cards like that. And again, ruin mode is not like a 4 of. You don't need 4 ruin modes in your deck. You need 1, you need 2 maybe. I'd also like to talk about ruin mode. When it first came out, everyone knew that this card was like a very good card. No, I don't think there's a single person that wasn't like, oh, that's not a meta relevant card. Like, I think all of us were like, oh yeah, no, that card's good. Ruin mode, still, it was expensive still, but you could buy ruin modes all the way back in early June from anywhere from $30 all the way to under $50 until like November 5th. Right? So there was a very long time period where you could buy ruin mode for cheaper. Now ruin mode is older. I mean, the cards, June, 10 months old
sets? Now. Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's 10 months old now, right?
Wow.
So now it's an older card from a less open set. And that is why the card is so ridiculous. I think it is a ridiculous price. I think that $45-$50, like, I think that's a fine price.
A fair price for a secret.
Like, that's fine. Now, this card is $70+ right now, which is actually insane. In my opinion. I mean, I have mine, so I don't give a shit. Like, I have alt arts. Like, their alt arts are like $90 a piece. However, there's an argument for reprints, and when should reprints happen?
Yeah.
Because the card is now, like I said, it's 10 months old. No one really opened that set because the other cards in that set were actual dog water. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only playable deck in that whole set was Alter Omnimon, if you want to call that a playable deck.
Coach plays it, and that's the only reason I consider that deck playable, because we have one person who plays it really well.
Yeah. So
even the bunny stuff from that deck from that set is like mid.
Yeah. Kuzuhamon.
I think Panzer said ruin mode, obviously the best card in the set. The second best card in the set is a common, which I believe is Heaven's Judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. Shadow Seraphi's in there. Shadow Seraphi's great. Shadow Seraphi's also $10 for the alt art. So with all of that being said, when would we see reprints for this? I think it deserves a reprint, honestly. And I have no problems with cards being reprinted. Let me state this now. I think that reprints should happen in card games. I think it's important.
Sure. I don't want the card to stay expensive forever. Yeah.
No.
Definitely get some reprints going. What does Konami do? Well, I don't know, because you haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh recently.
Konami fucks you no matter what, bro.
Well, of course they do.
Konami will be like,
price of DPE?
Konami will be like, oh, that card's $90. Interesting.
Be a shame if we put it in a tin for $20 where your pull rate is almost guaranteed.
It'd be a shame if that card that's really expensive, we reprint at an even higher rarity next. Dude, let me there's I can't even, I wish that, like, let's see, it was Appaloosa. So Appaloosa was a secret rare that was like super crazy expensive for a long time, and it took them a very long time to reprint it, and then it got reprinted as an ultra rare, I believe. But then there was cards like oh man, I don't know, there's been, Yu-Gi-Oh's just fucked on how they do things. They'll give out like prize cards that are meta relevant, and they'll be like thousands of dollars, and they won't reprint that prize card for like ever.
Sounds like the
but they don't, I mean, like, that was a long time ago, like from when I was playing, so I don't know how they do things now. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh sucks with reprints, I feel like. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh will like let a card stay at $100 for like ever. But I mean, we're kind of at no difference than how Ruin Mode looks like at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, we are getting a Death X reprint, right?
Okay. Yes, but we don't know if and when, because Japan got the reprint, but there's been no announcements when LM2 is coming to the English meta.
Let's see, BT9 came out 2 years ago, right? A year and a half ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we still do not have a reprint of Death X yet. We know that there is one coming. Do we know when we're getting it? Absolutely the hell not. Do we know how we're going to get it? If I had to guess, we're getting it in another bullshit, random, fucked up, here's your booster box, and then here's all the reprint.
In the set, yep.
Yeah. So I would not count on Death X probably not even going down too crazy, if I'm being honest. And I would imagine we're probably not getting Ruin Modes for like 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. It's been out 10 months. We're not getting Ruin Modes for a year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd agree.
If we get a Ruin Mode reprint. And is that bad for the game? I think so.
Yeah, for sure. As a, so like one of the biggest arguments that our Discord had was, well, it deters new players from wanting to play the game. My counter argument was, if a new player is coming in, their barrier to entry is seeing the one deck that runs the card, and that's putting them off, then they probably just weren't going to play the game to begin with. That being said, it is a barrier to entry because, I mean, $70. I mean, if you're a competitive player, you'll pay the price. But should they, like Mike said, should that card be $70 forever? No. Should reprints happen? Yes. And what is our biggest issue? Well, Bandai's first, Naruto was let's say their first real card game, right? But Bandai's first actual like successful, longer than X amount of years, like Dragon Ball Super or Masters is still going. That was a 20, I want to say like 18 minimum card game. That was a card game that wasn't released in Japan. That was an entirely English-based game. Well, English and French and whatever, but that was an English-based game. Digimon is their first real English and Japanese meta game, which is an issue because then now there's like all this inexperience on, well, how do we handle, reprints? How do we handle, what are reprints? For what it's worth, what are reprints? RB1 wasn't even going to be a thing if it wasn't for the new producer coming in and saying, yeah, here's some expensive ass cards that I saw when I became the producer that I think players should have cheaper.
So for me, I personally, and I love everyone in our Discord, I hated the argument that Ruin Mode was like a price barrier for new players, because when I was a new player, price barriers were worse because it wasn't the secret rare that was $1 million you needed. I mean, don't get me wrong, Zwart Defeat was 60 a piece or 75 a piece.
It was like almost the same price, yeah.
And if you wanted to play a deck that played Zwart Defeat, you did not play 2, you played 4. So that was awful.
I do remember that.
The price were way worse because it wasn't secret rares that were expensive. It was a rare that was $20. It was a starter deck card that was $15. It was jamming VMons, which were $20. You know what I mean? Like, it just like Davis was $20. Greymon from the Security +1 from the starter deck was $15-$20. I mean, like, all of those cards didn't have reprints, and I think that is way more damaging to a game, having cards you need 4 ofs in your deck being that expensive. For me, right now, like, if I was a new player and let's say I wanted to play Digimon and I was brand new to the game, I would be more pissed off that I just spent $15 on Monzemons than I'd be mad that I'd spent $70 on a secret rare.
Yeah, bro, I just put the deck together on TCG. It's almost like $270 to build the most recent topping Numamon list with one Ruin Mode. One. If you add a second one, this is like a $320 deck. If you add the Zwart Defeats, which have went up in price, it offsets it a little bit. But like, just the fact that, like, I think that's like another good point that you make. Protoform is an expensive ass super rare from EX5 for some reason. Don't know why, but that shit's $15. You don't need 4, but they're what this list was running to. Ukon Mons they're promos. So, okay, whatever, the price is there. But BT10 Venusmon is $11. Quantumon, granted, it's a secret, it is a secret rare, so $14 is fair, all things considered. But Venusmon is $11. Protoform is $15. Why are these SRs so, especially Venusmon? I mean, yeah, she's from BT10. It's not even like she's been like meta relevant to the point where it's like, oh, like this card, I don't know, justifies its price at 11. It does.
Titties.
But not to, yeah, there you go. Not to the point that some of these other cards are. And so like, how will you go about doing reprints, Bandai? Like, we need them, but that's like, it seems like the furthest thing from Bandai's mind. And with global unification coming up, it's a very interesting point to touch on, because there are two things. Number one, obviously the reprints are a big thing, but back when it was originally announced, a lot of people were like, I saw this on Reddit, a lot of people were upset. They were like, well, I'm not going to know what cards I need to pick up in the future now. Because, for example, you said back when Ruin Mode, when that set first came out, Ruin Modes were like $30. We all knew it was a good card.
They were like 35, and then they went to like
let's just say 40
bucks. Yeah.
We all knew it was a great card. I knew it was a fantastic card, and I picked up my Ruin Modes that I needed because I already knew that was going to be a dumbass card in any purple or purple-yellow control deck that I could play it in.
Yep.
That being said, not every player thinks like that, or not every player has the money to, do that. And so when global unification comes around and we start getting these cards, we're on EX7 reveals right now, and we're going to get to a point where EX7 or EX8 reveals are going to happen, and that's going to be for both us and for JP. And then, for example, perfect one, Metallic Dramon. Yesterday, you could have went online and you could have picked up a playset of alt-art Metallic Dramons for maybe 20, maybe that's a little bit wrong. Maybe more like 25 to 40 bucks, depending on your shipping and who you get it from.
And they were like $5 a piece, I think, $6 a piece.
Right now, your playset of Metallic Dramons are going to cost you 120 bucks. And this is for a deck that we're not going to see for another 6 months minimum. Now, obviously, it's a hype price. Hype will die down. But the fact that this happened, imagine if we were global unification. There is no hype come down period, because the card just got revealed and it's coming out next month. If you didn't pick up your cards and your copies before then, well, here's the price to entry. And I can understand there's like a lot of frustration about that, because not everybody wants to pick things up when they probably should. I know myself, I'm a big victim of that. I did want to pick up my Hina's Metallics and Volcanics. I didn't, and there's no way in hell that I'm picking up these old hearts now.
Absolutely the hell not.
Yeah, but it's something that I think Bandai is going to need to really focus on once we hit that unification, making sure that we're getting cards that we need reprinted in a good time period, because premium Bandai products, that's not it, Chief. That is Absolutely not. That is not it.
I will also say, I almost feel like us as Digimon players do get a little spoiled, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
In most other card games I've played, I've had like 4 or 5 decks I'll play that are all pretty meta relevant. I'll have built them for a long time and I'll keep playing with them. But I'll have to, like, if I want to build a new deck, I'm like, oh, let me sell this deck and then I can build this one, whatever, all blah, 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 blah. The only times that will, like, and when I played Magic, like, obviously you don't sell your dual lands. Like, that's not something that happens. Like, you know what I mean? But like other cards, like, whatever. Digimon? I have like probably 50 decks, bro. I'm not even, like, it's actually disgusting. Like, I'm just gonna like this is right next to my desk. This is like 15, 20 decks right here. That's gross. All of those are decks, bro. Like, and I get it. I probably spend more money on card games than I should, but like that is probably an issue. Like in all of those decks, I mean, a lot of them are max rarity, but if they were just base rarity decks, I don't think that there's a single deck in that bag over there that probably costs more than $40.
40? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, so not that that's a bad thing. I love that this game's cheap, so don't get me wrong with that. But like again, like, it's kind of like I think that people. You don't have to own every single card. I think that it's kind of normal to not. I just think that we've been so spoiled as Digimon players that we're like, oh shit, like I own 97 decks. Like I don't know why the fuck I do. I don't touch those decks, but I own. Really like I have them all.
He hates 3/4 of those decks. Actually,
I hate probably more than 3/4. It's probably like 90%. But I
but
literally
he built them because
I'm dumb. I don't know, because the game's so cheap. Even Leviamon, which is like more expensive to build, I built it. Have I ever played that deck? Absolutely the fuck not. I don't know why I built it. I just built it.
The deck's definitely gotten a lot cheaper, because I remember when Leviamons were up towards like the $16 mark, and now they're still a bit expensive, but not as expensive as it once used to be. Yeah. But it's. I could agree. We're definitely a little bit spoiled, and I think, it's a little bit of a good thing and a little bit of a bad thing. Bandai treats us well enough, and that they do some of the right things, but then I think Bandai's inexperience as a card game maker also shoots both them and us in the foot. Whether it's reprints, whether it's, when do we get our ban list? When is the next announcement for ban list? I mean, I remember during Nats, One Piece players over here, when ban list. And I just saw YuGiOh players doing that like last week before that YuGiOh ban list dropped. They were like, when ban list, Konami? So to be fair, it's not just a problem that's specific to Bandai. But, we all pay the price of admission. We all buy our boxes. We buy our cards. And we want this game to be enjoyable, and we want it to be cheap for everybody who wants to play. We don't want price to be a barrier of entry. So I'm not sitting here and saying that, Ruin Mode always needs to be a $70 card. And I'm also not going to sit here and tell you guys that you should have picked up your Ruin Modes when they were $40. Because I get it. Somebody just came into the game 3 months ago. They didn't know to pick up the Ruin Modes. And Bandai does need to do better on that part. But I also think there are ways around everything in this game. Playing a deck that requires the Ruin Mode, well, what are your alternatives? Merciful Mode? Yeah, it's not going to do what Ruin Mode does, but for some of the matchups, you could just play Merciful Mode, or you could just not, and you could just try to do something different entirely. Like if I didn't have half the cards that I did for Magnamon that I just built, would I have tried to procure them the night before the tournament? No. I just been like, all right, well, what do I play in its place? If I
that's what you did, right? Like you didn't have Zudomons, right? So what did you do?
Well, I did. I had one I knew at the bare minimum, but I wanted to play the Magna Angemon, which is why I played it. I might not have been able to find my other ones in time, so I probably would have just ended up playing the Magna Angemons. Now, granted, that's two completely different cards with two completely different functions, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a chicken is not a fucking chicken. Zudomon is fucking Zudomon, and Magna Angemon is Magna Angemon. They do two different things. Yeah. And I would have preferred having the Zudomon, just like people might prefer having the Ruin Mode. But you can play other things in its place. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like, do you have a Baron de Fleur replacement? Do you have a replacement for Destroyer, Phoenix Enforcer? Those are just cards that I know. And Baron just got hit. Baron de Fleur just got hit as well. You know, like, it definitely, I know not many like to hear why does our bar of success have to be comparing it to Yu-Gi-Oh? Because that's what it is. It's the big three. Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! They are successful, whether we like it or not, because time, when they entered the market, how many people they have playing their game, whether it's shitty or not. I mean, Mike just talked about fucking, what was it? EDH was a format of its own, and then they made CEDH.
Well, no, so we're jumping into different categories now. All right, so Commander, which is Elder Dragon Head, started off as like it was just a fun casual format. People used to play it like Judges would play like in between rounds or whatever at tournaments, whatever. Then it picked up, got more popular. People were playing it. It was supposed to be like a casual format for friends, whatever. Then like people, competitive players do competitive things, and then they start making 100 card singleton decks that are not casual anymore. They're like, it's called CEDH, which is competitive EDH, which is literally like these 100 card singleton decks that can cost like $10,000, and then like you went on like turn 2 in a 100 card singleton format. It's the stupidest shit in the world. I think it's the dumbest game in the whole fucking. I cannot stand people that play that game. When Mark was playing Magic, and I told Mark, I said, you should not play this game because I know who you are as a person. And then he literally spent $10,000, and he literally, after he sold his deck, he bought a card.
I unfortunately have to agree with Mike's claim because I bought Mark's entire Digimon collection, but I didn't buy it with cash. He was just like, yo, instead of giving me cash, can you just buy this card for me? And he showed me the fucking card. It's a Mox Moonstone. And I looked at the price. I was like, what the fuck, Mark? Are you serious? He's like, yeah, I just need the one for the deck. You what?
He said Mox. You meant Mox Diamonds?
Sorry, Mox Moonstone. You know what Mox Moonstone is? Mox, if you're listening to this. Because I don't know why, but his name was in my head. But yes, Mox Diamond, not Mox Moonstone. Mox Moonstone is a listener of podcasts.
Yeah. But no, Mox Diamond, which is like a $600 card, I'm pretty sure.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe you. I mean, I remember when he was like, yeah, I sold out of Magic and I just bought a new car.
Dude, he was like, all right, I'm selling Magic. He's like, I bought my apartment. He's like, I got my apartment, got my car, got my. But like, I have my brother bought a house when he sold out of Magic. That's not even a joke, bro. Put a down payment on a house.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's stupid. But like, regardless, as far as Ruin, all right. So my other point I want to make is, I think that it's also normal for like, all right, most of the decks in this game are so fucking cheap. Okay, I think it's also pretty normal to have a card game with at least one expensive deck. If Nuamon, it has to be that one expensive deck. I mean, because you can play Ruin mode, the Mons, Venus Mons, whatever. Some people are playing with 3 Zwart defeats plus a Ruin mode, plus a fucking whatever. I think that's what Dan Vang did. I think Dan Vang, he played 3 Zwart defeat, he played a Ruin mode, and he played a Merciful mode. He had the Venus Mons, like whatever. He had the 4 Mons, everything, right? That's an expensive ass deck. I don't even know how much that is, but it's a lot of money, right?
Probably around the same price, 300, 350.
With that being said, what are the other meta relevant decks that play Ruin mode? Leviamon, which is purple.
Yeah, Leviamon plays that
like 1. But does Fenry actually play it though? I feel like Fenry just focuses on the OTK.
Normally they do. Vaccine typically plays it, but also at like 1, sometimes 2.
Yeah. So like I don't know. Like, it's just like there's so many other decks to play. There's so many decks that don't use it. Like if I was a new player, I would not be concerned about it. And I know that like next set, like the yellow armor, the yellow Vax, like I don't even know if they play it, right? Do they play that? I don't even think they play Ruin mode next set.
Well, they can.
They can, but I don't even think they do. I think they just go straight on the Magna X train, no?
Yeah, for the most part, but that's also, our best of 1 format ass deck.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. But so like I wouldn't get too caught up on that. If you don't have them, I almost want to say it's probably not even worth it to buy them at this point. That might be bad advice. Don't take any financial advice from me at all, actually. But like me personally, you fucking couldn't catch me paying $70 for a fucking non-alt-art Ruin mode. I would not fucking do that at all. Unless
like you absolutely needed it for competitive play.
Well, you didn't let me finish. I'm a casual player. I've played in 1 regional ever. I beat Dan in that regional again. I'm just gonna say that. But I've never like I buy expensive alt arts. I'm stupid and I play casually, okay? But you could never catch me spending $75 on that fucking card as a casual player. And I would assume that most new players who are just trying to get into the game are casual players. I don't think any new player needs to spend $75 on that card.
Would you tell a new player to spend $67 on a Dexmon?
No. I probably wouldn't tell them that either. I don't think I probably wouldn't tell them to spend $67. I would probably, if they're a new player, if my friends, right, let's say I was just bringing a friend in the Digimon, right? They're really interested in Digimon. They like Digimon a lot. They don't really play card games. They want to play casually. And they were like, oh, this card's too expensive. Like, Dexmon's too expensive. I don't know if I want to play it. I'd say, don't fucking play it. Like, what do you mean? You're playing casually. If you want to play competitively, then that's a different story entirely. But I think that if you're a competitive, like if you were coming into a card game to play competitively, you probably don't care what the price is. And if you care what the price is, then you're not playing a deck that plays Rune Mode anyways. You're playing fucking Red Hybrid for $30.
But okay, so that was a point that I made. I was like, if somebody just wanted to come play competitively, I just tell them to play Red Hybrid. And the counterpoint was, well, not everybody wants to play Red Hybrid. Yeah, well, if to me personally, if you don't want to sit here and play one of the best decks in the format in being Red Hybrid, considering that they can natively play Crimson Blaze, which is good against half of the meta, then I don't know what to tell you. To be honest,
you know what I would tell them if they didn't want to play Red Hybrid? I would tell them to go play Mirage. I would tell them to go play Shine. I would tell them to go play Fenrir. I would tell them to go play any of the other decks that do not need a Ruin Mode and that are way cheaper.
Very true.
Like there's so many options in the game. I understand that people want to play a certain play style, but I honestly, in almost every single card game I've ever played, for whatever fucking reason, probably because you're all sick fucks and sadists, control players, their decks are always more expensive. They're always more expensive. Every single card game I've ever played, control decks are always more expensive.
Yeah, that is very true. For some, that is really weird that you say that.
Whatever fucking weird reason it is, they're always more expensive. Fucking, if I like, I don't know. You know, it is what it is. You guys are sick fucking people. I don't know what to tell you. You like pain. You like causing other people misery. So that's on you. That's not my fault. Like,
I cannot refute that statement. I honestly cannot refute that. Yeah,
like literally almost every card game I've ever played, the control deck is more money. I don't know why. That's not my fault. You guys did that to yourselves, you bastards. Now is Shine Greymon a lot of money for no reason? I think so. Yeah, Ruin Mode's stupid though. That card shouldn't be $75. Am I happy it is? Yeah, I'd like that my cards have value. Would I be happy if it was $40 instead? Yeah, I would still like that. I think that that's a decent value, and I think that's probably what the card should be at. It's $45. Are we gonna get reprints for it? I would not fucking hold your breath. I think if we get a reprint, you better be fucking the most patient human being in the entire world. If you are desperately, you want to play Numemon so bad, then go buy one Ruin Mode because that's all you need. I don't think you need to.
Yes, I agree.
If you so badly want to play Numemon and you don't want to play Ruin Mode at all, then just play Zwart Defeat in a Merciful Mode.
Or just don't. And just do something else entirely. Like, I just think that deck is so flexible. And that was like the biggest thing I just want to like close this podcast on. I think Digimon has so much flexibility in the decks that it plays. Outside of a deck like Ulforce, which requires a 4 of Secret in Rena, who is another card that should be reprinted, because there is absolutely no world that we live in where base Rena should be $40 for a deck that has not topped this entire format. She's a secret rare, so to Mike's point, like, cool. The only reason she's that expensive is because she's a girl. I'm not going to sit here and call her a waifu because she's a child. Literally the only reason.
Child.
She's only that expensive because she's a girl.
She is 14, you fucking monsters.
This weird sense of waifu fucking tax on this
14!
card. No reason this card needs to be as expensive as it is. But outside of that, outside of Ulforce, like, most other decks have some other way of playing into whatever they want to play into. And I just don't think that, you know, it's as big a price, or what's the word I'm trying to say? It's as big a barrier to entry, that being the price, as some of you guys make it out to be. Just because if you were going to be priced out on a Ruin Mode, the only other card game I'd suggest for you to go play is probably Pokemon. Because Pokemon is dirt cheap.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, again, It's a one of in a lot of decks. Sometimes it's played at 2. If you're playing a one of in the deck, you are not seeing that one of every fucking game. I don't care who you are. It's just not happening. You're playing it at 1. It's at 1 for a reason because it's a good tech choice. Am I wrong in saying that?
Ooh,
like you're not like that's not like
it's a good tech choice.
It's a good tech choice, right?
Yeah,
it's a one of for a reason. You're like, if I see this card in this matchup, like this could help me win the game, right? That's what you're playing it for. You're not playing it at 1 because you want to see it every single game, or even use it every single game. You're playing it at 1 because you're like, oh, if I dig really hard and I get really lucky, I can find this card at 1 and I can do something to win the game.
Agreed.
What are you doing if that card ends up in your security?
Well, you don't have a ruin mode.
You don't have a fucking ruin mode.
It was a 15K security bomb, I guess.
Yeah, you just paid $75 for a card that's in your security. I don't know, like you're playing it at 1. I don't know what to say. I'm just like, am I wrong? But like, you know, like if it was at 4, I'd be like, that's fucking so stupid. Those bastards and their $80 fucking ruin modes, those scumbags. But it's a 1 of. At most, it's a 2 of. I get, 2 of makes a little more sense if you actually wanted to see it in your matchups. But if it's a 1 of, and a lot of these deck lists at top, it's a 1 of. Like, bro, like that card, you could literally never see that card the entire time you play the game. You could go an entire 3-round match, and that card could be in your security every single game, and you might not ever actually even know it's there. Because they might not even hit that in your security. You might actually just win the game without even seeing that card there. It could not even be in your deck. That card is at 1, so like that card being at 1, bro. You know how many people I know that have played in tournaments and lost a card? That could be the one card you lose. You're playing a 49 card deck now, buddy. No, but in all seriousness, reprints are good for the game. Also, cards having value are good for the game. So, and I definitely see the issue with
reprints are needed. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely see the issue of ruin mode being $70-something. I do think that it's not terrible for the game just because it's a secret rare. I do like my cards having value. $70 for that card's a little fucking insane, but
at least they're secret rares, and it's not a super rare out here, you know, costing like 20 plus.
Yeah,
because
I would much rather have the card be a secret rare than it be like a super rare or something stupid, or a promo, or a fucking dumbass promo.
Raremon.
Rare. You know what card would have been a great argument to have a card about? Raremon. That card's so fucking stupid. Don't get me. I could have a whole podcast talking shit about how dumb I think the price of that card is.
Also, there was the movie Patamon that was like 30 plus for the longest time for a card that saw actual no competitive play until one topping list about a week ago.
You mean he said he could the promo Patamon that's at $25 still?
Yes, $25 currently. Yep, that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the promo Kuwagamon that Dan was like, I like this card, but I don't like it enough to buy it at $30. Kuwagamon.
And Dan plays competitively. Bro, I don't know.
Promos are a different topic though, but yeah, agreed.
Those are so much worse than a secret rare.
Mm-hmm. But with that being said, we'll call it a day. We'll wrap it up here. So my parting words to you all is just remember, when it comes to deck building, if you're a newer player, there's options. Take to Discord, Facebook, your friends, your locals. Find out what else you can play in place of said expensive card, because I almost guarantee you there is a decent enough replacement instead of spending X amount of money on that card if you can't afford it. Because I'm not going to expect you all to try to afford said $70 card. But if you're going to try to play competitively, I am going to tell you to afford that $70 card, because sometimes there just isn't a replacement for it.
Yeah,
most times there is.
And if you really want that $70 card, bro, I'm gonna put you guys on to a firm. You really fuck up your credit and just take out a bunch of loans on cards. If you really want to fuck your shit up, get a credit card and just rack that shit up. Honestly, bro, you get a credit card, money's not even real. The money's not real, bro. Do whatever you fucking want.
And that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. And so, until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.
Wrap it before you tap it, baby.
Catch you all in the next one.
Don't take financial advice from me again. Disclaimer, 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 disclaimer.